On this episode of Maritime Insights from a deck officer, we are going to be looking at some exciting new developments around the cargo ship the Thamesborg that is still aground in the Northwest Passage within Canada. Now, I've worked for Wagenborg as a deck officer on a similar cargo ship, and that's why I'm interested in keeping an eye on this salvage operation and investigating what is happening and what will happen next. Now, this is my 5th detailed video about the grounding of the Thamesborg. So if you're interested in all the previous videos, have a look on my channel or click on the video links in the description down below. Again, thank you so much for all your comments, your tips, and your insights. I've gotten emails, people have sent me photos that I will share with you as well. You guys make this channel even better, so I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now, lots of people following and that are subscribed to the channel are in some way involved with the Thamesborg's demise. We have sailors that pass the Thamesborg that also send photos, like I said, and I'll share those with you in a moment. Someone who was heavily involved in the design of the Thamesborg had some great insights that I will share with you. The mother of one subscriber is actually on the Botnica. And of course, we have a lot of Canadians that follow this story as well. So welcome on board to all of you on this channel. So I also just passed 1,000 subscribers. So I guess I have to set my goal higher. So we're going for 5,000 subscribers next. So if you like shipping news and shipping topics, then click that subscribe button right now. Here's a quick overview what I will cover in this video. First of all, some Canadian Coast Guard updates, then some photos that were sent by a subscriber that actually passed the Thamesborg and the Silver Copenhagen while they were offloading. Now, there's also a new heavy lift vessel that came on the scene named the Nunalik, and they also had with them on board 2 tugs that are currently in the water. So we'll look at the new ship. Then, of course, the icebreaker Botnica is underway. I have some updates on that as well. And now that we know all the ships that are involved in this operation, we can make a better judgment on what the possible salvage plan is going to be and when the Thamesborg will be refloated. Now, I've gone through the official channels and trying to find out more about the salvage plan and the dates and everything, but they are all under a strict NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. So yeah, the best thing that we can do is puzzle it all together, and I'll give you my insights of what I think is going to happen next based on the information that we currently have. What are the costs involved in this entire salvage operation, and will it be worth to salvage the Thamesborg or not? We will have a calculation on that as well. And last but not least, bad weather is coming to the Thamesborg and its salvage team tomorrow, which is not a good thing. It will complicate things. So, but there could be more bad weather coming their way. So, and ice also. So, yeah, they are in a bit of a time crunch. I'll start with some updates from the Coast Guard on the MV Thamesborg grounding. So the Canadian Coast Guard and Transport Canada have reviewed the salvage plan submitted by Wagenborg and consider it reasonable and appropriate to start salvage operations. On September 22nd, the MV Thamesborg started transferring its cargo to the Norwegian-flagged Silver Copenhagen, a 1B ice-class cargo vessel that can safely operate in icy waters. Cargo transfer will continue this week, and the tug Beverly M is stationed nearby to assist as needed. The MSV Botnica icebreaker is en route and scheduled to arrive for additional support on or around September 30. Now, today is September 30. They are still not there. I made a calculation. They will probably be there October the 3rd. The Canadian Coast Guard continues to monitor salvage operations, and the CCGS Coast Guard vessel Des Groselliers is still on location. And that is correct. It has been there pretty much from the beginning of the grounding of the Thamesborg. They're all up here in this corner. This is Tom's Island, and you have some ships over here, and you have the Coast Guard vessel over here. But you can see it is doing hydrographic survey, which is very good. They are there anyway, so why not do some hydrographic survey to make the charts even better. Now, I was looking at the ship. I found some more information on this Coast Guard vessel, and I can see over here they have available berths 26. They have 12 officers and 26 crew and 26 available berths. So the reason I pulled this up is because I'm quite curious about where the crew is of the Thamesborg. They are probably still on board, at least most of them, because the ship's equipment needs to keep running, and they're also using the cranes, and they know best how to use those cranes. So I believe they are probably still on board for now, and maybe some of them are also on this Coast Guard vessel. There is currently no pollution or injuries, and the vessel remains stable. Canada follows the polluter pay principle. Vessel owners are responsible for taking the appropriate measures to address any risks or hazards posed by their vessel, as well as the associated costs. This includes any hazard-related costs like cleanup or repairs and any remediation action taken by the Canadian Coast Guard. One of my subscribers passed the Thamesborg, and he sent me this photo of the EGDIS, which is the electronic chart display. The red is their intended route. You can see a waypoint over here. You can see it is way more westerly than where the Thamesborg was going. So you can see the Thamesborg over here, the Beverly M, the tug over here, the Silver Copenhagen alongside, and you can see the Coast Guard vessel over here. More interestingly, he also sent a photo of the Silver Copenhagen alongside the Thamesborg. Yes, I know this is a very blurry picture, but we can see some details here that we did not know. This photo was taken probably about 2.5 or 3 miles away from the ship, and that's why it is so blurry. But we can see some interesting facts on the ship. So we can see their hatches are open, and it is the forward hold of the Thamesborg is here, and then they have a second hold here in the back. So they're only on offloading here from the forward cargo hold, which makes sense because that's where they are stuck on the rock. That is why the Silver Copenhagen is also not all the way forward, because there are the rocks and they don't want to be grounded as well, so they are a little bit further back. But then they cannot offload the carbon blocks all the way into the cargo hold of the Silver Copenhagen here in the back. So what I see them doing is that they use the ship's cranes of the Thamesborg to unload the carbon blocks, but they are actually being moved here into the forward part of the Silver Copenhagen. And the Silver Copenhagen also has cranes, so they will probably move them from the forward area of the ship also to the aft cargo hold area as well, because the cranes cannot reach all the way to the aft cargo hold of the Silver Copenhagen. That is what I can see from this picture. If anyone sees something else, please let me know in the comments. Obviously, the unloading of the carbon blocks will lighten the vessel, and this will help it to refloat at a later stage. But they will also salvage these carbon blocks to go on the ship and then being sent to the end customer in Canada, to the aluminum plant Alcoa. And then third, once they get all the way down to the bottom of the hold, there will be manholes. And the manholes, you can open them to go into a water ballast tank. Obviously, that is, you have to see if the water ballast tanks are full, if they're empty, if they're half full. Obviously, when the water ballast tank is full of water and you open the manhole, that is not a good idea. But if they want to inspect the damage in the other water ballast tanks or in structures, in the forward structures, they will most likely have opened some of those manholes that they were able to open safely to have a look at the internal damage. Here's an interesting comment from one of my subscribers. His name is Bart, and he says that he was deeply involved in the design of this vessel, which is the Thamesborg, based on the smaller Wagenborg A-class, which was a continuation of an older design. The Thamesborg was a complete redesign in hull construction and damage stability. I am curious to know which compartments are flooded. Me too. As long as the forward hold is not impaired, which seems not to be the case exactly, she probably won't sink. But the more compartments are flooded, the deeper she will float, and the more difficult it will be to get her off the rocks. She's a pretty strong vessel, and if all forward bottom compartments are already leaking anyway, they might as well use brute force to get her off before the first serious gale sets in. I would guess that in the current situation, a strong gale with associated high seas is the biggest risk to crew, vessel and cargo. The forward cargo hold should remain intact at all costs, though, or she will likely sink. Unfortunately for the Thamesborg and its salvage team, there are some high winds coming into the area tomorrow. You can see Franklin Strait right over here, and the Thamesborg is right here just under this 25. And you can see 25 miles per hour wind from the southeast tomorrow on Wednesday. That's about 21 knots. That is on the Beaufort scale, that is about 5, but close to 6. And then you will also get waves, and those waves will also have white caps. Now the issue is obviously when there's waves, the ship will be pushed around, and the ship that is laying on top of the rocks, when it's moving around, it could damage the water ballast tanks even more. So yeah, that's not a good situation, and there will be more bad weather coming. So the longer this takes, the worse it will get for the structure of the ship. But let's move on to some better news. So the Nunalik, which is a general cargo ship under Canadian flag, just arrived a couple of days ago on the scene. And as you can see, it has some heavy lift cranes as well, which come in handy. It's 138 meters in length, and it has a current draft of 6.5 meters. Now, to give you an indication, the Silver Copenhagen is alongside and has a draft of 4.5. So I don't know if this ship can actually come alongside, but we'll have a look in a second. Then it is coming from Bécancour in Canada, and it is from the company called NIAS. Now, and NIAS, what they do is they do Arctic sea lift you can depend on. Now, what does that mean? Arctic sea lift. Basically, there are a lot of communities in the Arctic territories that are off the grid pretty much. You cannot just buy anything on Amazon. It will arrive the next day. They will have a ship come to their community that will bring fuel or maybe a new car or quad or motorcycle or TV or anything that you need. It will come in intervals, but the Nunalik will actually have a barge on board, and it will also have 2 tugboats on board of the ship. So they can put the barge in the water, and they can then load the barge with their cargo that needs to go to the community, and then the 2 tugboats will come alongside that barge, and then they will take it to the community. So that's what a sea lift is. Here is a photo of the 2 tugboats that the Nunalik also has on board that they normally use to push a barge, but these could come in handy at the salvage operation as well. Here's an update on the Botnica, which is an icebreaker / support vessel, and this ship is going to be worth its weight in gold because it can do so many tasks that the Thamesborg is needing. They are coming from Estonia via Germany. They picked up some more personnel and equipment, and then they had a quick stop here in Greenland, where they arrived on September 27th. Then they came over here and they went at anchor. They maybe got fuel over here with a barge, or they came alongside and got fuel with a barge or from the shore side here. And also maybe some additional personnel and equipment, who knows. Then they left again on September 27th, so they were not there very long. Let's see, they arrived on the 27th around midnight. This is all UTC time, but then they left 18 hours later. After their visit in Nuuk, Greenland, they are making their way to the Tasmania Islands where the Thamesborg is, and expected to arrive October 2nd at 1800. The Botnica is truly an impressive ship. Exactly what you need for a salvage operation of this size. It can do so many things and it has so many capabilities, but it's already bringing personnel and equipment for a emergency repair. But once it comes on the scene, they will probably soon start with pulling the Thamesborg off the rocks. But before that, they will take all the crew off the Thamesborg for safety, because TNT Salvage, they now have the liability of the crew and the ship, so they will not want any liabilities for anybody to stay on board the ship once they start pulling it off the rocks and trying to refloat it. So they will have the room on the Botnica, they will have enough accommodation for all the crew members to be on this ship before they pull it off the rocks. Once it is pulled off the rocks, they will have the personnel and equipment to do a emergency repair. And then once that emergency repair is done, they will then tow the Thamesborg to, well, actually, before they tow it away, they will probably take some more cargo off the ship, and that will go on the Nunalik. And then once that transfer of cargo has been done, then they will tow the Thamesborg somewhere to a dry dock for a repair that will then be so that the ship can be seaworthy again. The main reason why I think that the Thamesborg will be offloaded as much as possible and then being towed is because Wagenborg has concluded a Lloyd's Open Forum LOF with the salvage company TNT Salvage. The work will be supervised by the German expert Dennis Brandt from Brandt Marine Consultants as Special Casualty Representative, an SCR. The salvage is being carried out under a special clause, SCOPIC, which provides for remuneration based on time and use of materials. This indicates an increased risk of total loss. So they are scared that this is going to be a total loss, and that's why they're trying to offload the cargo and to make sure that the crew is safe as well. What does SCOPIC mean? It's a special compensation P&I clause, which is basically TNT Salvage will get paid for all of the equipment, for all the ships, for all the time that they're putting into this to salvage the Thamesborg. They will get paid regardless. A lot of times there is a no cure, no pay. So if you don't salvage it, you don't get paid. But because there is such an increased risk of total loss, they will get paid regardless. Now, if they are so afraid that the ship is going to be a total loss, that means that there is substantial damage. And that is why they want to put the crew and the cargo into safety. And then repair the ship somewhere in a dry dock. The Silver Copenhagen has been alongside the Thamesborg already for quite a while, and we know that the dead weight of the ship is 4,230 tons, and so they could carry safely in cargo a bit less than this, because you have to subtract fuel and bunkers and ballast, and that's on the ship. So we said it can probably take 3,500 tons of cargo from the Thamesborg, but they still have not completed that. Now, there could be a reason for that, because if they feel that the ship is starting to refloat, they don't want that to happen yet until the Botnica is in place. Because once the Botnica is in place, once the Thamesborg comes off the rocks, they will want to do an emergency repair as quickly as possible, but also they will bring big pumps that can empty out the ballast tanks from the Thamesborg as well. So they are really waiting for the Botnica to arrive on the scene, and then probably then continue to offload more onto the Silver Copenhagen to then really make it refloat, and then pull it away, do the emergency repair, then offload more onto the Nunalik. And the Nunalik, let's see at its dead weight. The dead weight of the Nunalik is 12,662. So that means, again, you have to subtract fuel, and you have to subtract water ballast and fresh water and provisions. So let's say they can take 11,000 tons of cargo from the Thamesborg. Then the total would be 14,500 tons that will be offloaded on these both ships, which is not the complete 18,000 tons of cargo that are on board. So there's a remaining 3,500 tons that might stay on board the Thamesborg. But that is actually not a bad thing, because if they are going to tow the ship, you do not want it to be completely empty, because it will be high out of the water, and in rough seas and a lot of wind, it could be difficult to handle. So it actually helps with the stability if they keep another 3,500 tons in the ship. So I believe that with the Nunalik and the Silver Copenhagen, they will have enough to offload all the cargo, and then all the crew will go on board of the Botnica, and then everything will be safe, and they'll do their best to actually salvage the ship also. Now, this is how I see the salvage plan coming together, but I could be totally wrong, and I would love to hear your insights. If you think, no, this is not possible, or have you thought about this or that, I would love to hear. Just leave a comment below, and I'll look at all of them. I'm sure you guys have some other smart ideas and insights. Now, about the refloat date, I am sure it is going to be close to when the Botnica arrives, with the divers and emergency repair equipment that they will have on board. They will have extra heavy ballast pumps on board. And after that, when that's all in place, they will take the Thamesborg off the rocks and start the repair. Once the Thamesborg is really off the rocks, then the divers of the Botnica can really assess the damage from underneath the ship, and they can see the extent of the damage, and then see if they can do like an emergency repair, maybe underwater welding, some pre-cut plates against those gashes, or some. I also know that they use some reinforced rubber mats sometimes as well. But this repair might not be perfect, and water might still be leaking in through places. So they will add water pumps as well, so they can suck out all the water from the damaged water tanks. They will also, before they start towing the ship to another location, they will also highly likely take out all the fuel and oil from the ship, to prevent, if something happens with the Thamesborg while it's going somewhere, that at least those oils and fuels have been taken out the ship, so that it will not cause an environmental issue. This salvage operation costs a lot of money. We have talked about it in a previous video about the Botnica. If you want to charter a ship like this, it is probably around the $35,000 per day mark. So then we can add the Nunalik, which is probably also around $20,000 per day. Then the Silver Copenhagen, I would say probably around $15,000 per day. Then there's the tug, the Beverly M, which is probably also $10,000 per day. And then there is extra personnel, extra equipment. They either need to buy or rent. That's another $20,000 per day. If you total that all up, so for those main assets, it will be about $100,000 per day in daily cost for the salvage operation. Now, we are already 24 days underway, and we are not close for this salvage operation to be ready. So it might take another 3 weeks until all the cargo has been delivered to the customer via the other ships, that the Thamesborg is somewhere safely in a dry dock to be repaired. So I'm guessing there is going to be another 3 weeks. That would mean the total time would be about 45 days. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, we don't know, but let's say 45 days at $100,000 per day. That is $4.5 million for this entire salvage operation. Now, considering we already calculated the cargo's worth, let's say the cargo's worth is about $13.9 million, give and take. Then we also need to look at the value of the Thamesborg, and a ship of the Thamesborg's size, if you would like to build a ship like that right now, it would probably cost about $30 million. And the ship is now 13 years old. And the lifespan of a ship is typically 30 years. So let's say it is halfway down the lifespan of the ship. Meaning, if you use the depreciation model, that the ship is roughly worth about $15 million as well. So combine the 15 million of the ship and the 14 million from the cargo, then we come to $29 million of total assets that they are trying to salvage, and it's going to cost $4.5 million. Now, these are all rough numbers, but these are some numbers to give you an idea what a salvage operation of this scale costs. I have been following this salvage operation closely because it represents everything challenging about our profession: remote operations, salvage under time pressure, Arctic conditions, and the reality that despite all our technology and expertise, success is far from guaranteed. And those 15 crew members aboard the Thamesborg, the salvage teams working in those conditions, Dennis Brandt making daily decisions worth millions. This is modern maritime operations at its most challenging, and I wish them all the best of luck and want everybody to stay safe. As always, I'm going to keep a close eye on the Thamesborg and its crew, the entire salvage operation, and I'll report back here on my channel with further updates. If you enjoyed this video, then also check out my previous 4 detailed videos that I made about the Thamesborg. Of course, also hit that like button if you really enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so I can reach my goal of 5,000 subscribers. And last but not least, if you found this video interesting, there's lots more to come, but also check out this video right over here.